official lesson with a teacher. We're gonna do a live recording in Seattle next week, but it'll be more a closing session. I'm not sure if we're gonna dive deep into any particular subject, but this is our last one. And I think a lot of us are asking the question, now that we have so much power available, in our fingertips, how do I position my career, or what will a biz apps development team look like, and how can I find my space in this new era, AI first era? So we brought today our friend Danish Naglekar. Danish, if you don't know Danish and you tried PCF components, Danish is the founder of PCF components. I'm joking a little bit, but when PCF came about, Danish was one of the voices that started writing, and then writing about it, blogging about it, and then he has a book on the subject. And it was someone that I looked up to when it came to PCF development, pro development in Power Platform. So I thought maybe Danish can give us some direction, moving perhaps from the current Fusion team setup into an AI that first scenario. How should we position our careers, and what should we pay attention to? Anyhow, it was a long intro, but I think even stretching the intro, it didn't pay justice to all that you brought to the community. So Danish, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Victor. It's always good to be back on Zero to Hero sessions and talking about all the things that we do for the community. So thanks very much. And yeah, appreciate you running this. I don't know how long you have been, like 4 years, maybe 3-4 years running this Zero to Hero. So I don't know, guys, if you haven't looked at all the other previous Zero to Hero sessions, do look at them. They're like wealth of knowledge in there, right? Something always you learn out of these sessions. So always good to be back. So thanks for that intro. Okay, so now let's go and again, my introduction, some of my introduction Victor has already covered. I'm also called as Power Maverick in the community. So you might not know me with my first name, but maybe with Power Maverick. I'm also Microsoft MVP. And then recently, in 2 months back in January, I launched a Power Platform Toolbox, which is a cross-platform tool, which is similar to what XM Toolbox is, but with a modern take on it. And then I've built a lot of other tools as well, including PCF Builder, Database Dev Tools, and as Victor called out, I'm also the author of Power Apps Component Framework book as well. You can connect me on the socials. Those are my socials. Okay, so diving into the topic, agent first team versus Fusion teams. Now, I know Victor said that how you go from Fusion team to AI first team, but agent first team, I'm actually changing it, right? I actually went further. I did some digging over past few months. I've attended some other sessions from some great people who are deep into AI. And what's the vision, right? Where are we taking this? People are always thinking about, oh, let's do agent first, but there's actually more than agent first. So I'm actually flipping it. So we went from pro dev to Fusion teams, where you had citizen dev and pro devs. Then we became agent first, but now we are going to Fusion teams again, and you'll be confused. So, but that's what you're gonna hear a lot, right? Agent first team was a concept, but that has drastically changed, and it keeps on changing because this is an evolving field right now. AI is all evolving field. Agents are all evolving field. But what is Fusion team is what you'll also learn from this. Like, what is the next version of Fusion team is what you'll gain from this session. So let's start with the question: why this topic matters, right? You have three personas. You have a frustrated leader who said, hey, we have invested in AI tools, but you don't see the outcome, right? And what they did, they basically just added copilots without thinking what's needed for the users or how can we solve their problems. What's part of the workflow, right? No one thought about it. And then there's this overwhelmed IT team where they initially said, hey, let's just open it up and then let everyone create their own agents and then help them out, right? But they don't know which agents are getting created. There's no governance in place. Then what they did, they put more governance in place. And then that frustrated, and then that made the product teams being unproductive because now they're building something, but they're not able to deploy because IT is overwhelmed with a lot of requests for approvals and no one is there to approve them. Things like that, right? So, so all these three things are solvable. And the answer is not more tools, right? The answer is that you need the right team model. Everyone needs to understand what are the roles that each of these things will play. What is the IT team's role? What is the leader's role? What is the product role? But not only just that, you also have to understand what are the agents' role in this. Where is agents going to help you? Where is AI going to help you? Things like that, right? So if you know the raise hand option in Teams, I'm gonna ask a question, and then while we go through this, I'm keep on asking the questions so that it's interactive. But basically, by show of hands, have you been in any of this? Let's see how many of you guys have been in one of these personas, or maybe multiple personas. Okay, one. And no one else, so everyone is happy. Everyone is saying, hey, we don't have any issues. All right, four, okay. Now three, and that's it? No more? Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, you would be in one of this situation at some point of time in your career, right? So before we talk about solutions, let's also talk about what the future of work would look like. So before AI, it was only humans, right? Everyone was having a task. There was a lot of burnout, a lot of bottlenecks, a lot of issues. If a person goes on vacation, no one knew what that person was doing. That's the bottleneck, right? Uh, Now what has happened is we have AI, and AI is assisting humans. And we said, okay, this is, and Microsoft come with a terminology called as copilots. So what we did is we gave copilots to all the humans. It's assisting humans. Humans are able to make faster decisions, better output. You don't have to go and create meeting notes anymore, right? Just turn on the copilot, let the copilot do all the heavy lifting, right? Capture all the action items and things like that. I don't go through my emails anymore. I just pile it up, and I'm coming after a vacation, let's say after 10 days. All those 200, 500 emails, mark all read, and ask the AI to summarize it for me, whatever I've missed, right? So it's simplified most of those processes for us, but it's only on the high level, right? It's not a day to day. Like I'm gonna read emails, not each and every minute of the day. Humans actually do more. They do more things day to days, right? So that's your next level. Next level is your humans plus agents, right? Where agents are driving the entire workflow. And then what humans are doing, they're strategizing it. They're reviewing the output of the agents, and then they're governing the outcome, right? So that's where we would be going, and you would hear this more and more, right? Because agents was introduced very recently, in a few months ago, and it's always evolving. This space is always evolving. Whatever you see today might not be relevant next week. So it's not like we didn't show you the right things. We did, but whatever is as of current, right? It can change tomorrow. So you have to always keep on checking this field, seeing what's new, what's upcoming, things like that. But this will give you a groundwork of what has happened so far, right? This session. So what changes, right? So your team design changes, your roles have expanded. Humans are there to set goals, execute them, and then govern the team. But the team is not just made up of humans anymore. Teams is made up of humans plus agents, right? That's what your team design should look like. And we'll go into detail about what team design actually means. Then, because of the introduction of agents, now agents can work across 24/7, right? They don't they don't have fatigue, they don't have burnouts, and if you provide proper context, they might not lose the context either. Um, so tokens is one thing that you might lose context, but we'll talk about how you can manage all of those things in this session as well. Then you can scale one agent or hundreds of agents or thousands of agents simultaneously, right? Then the human's focus is actually shifted. It has shifted to be more judgmental, more creative, and making sure that they are focusing on these tasks that the agent cannot do. So agents are going to do all your mundane tasks, right? But you are going to be the creative one, right? I've seen, people creating, even Victor creates nice graphics, right? But what you could do with that is like you can take a step further. It's always a baseline. It always creates that baseline for you, and then you can take it further, right? That's how you expedite the outputs of the processes that you're working with, right? And then exception handlings, because AI cannot solve all the problems of the world. So that's where exception handlings will come into play. And then the last but not the least is the accountability. No matter what, no matter how many agents you have, no matter how best prompt you have written, the humans are always the accountable party. So you have a business process, and in that business process, let's say you have 10 agents. At the end of the day, there should be a human in loop component, because humans are the one who should be responsible for the outcome of the agents. Governance is essential, right? You cannot skip that piece. So now, before we move, I just wanted to again raise your hands to indicate if you are in the before category. I'm hoping no one. All right, perfect. That's what we want. Everyone is now in the now phase. Now, how many of you are in the now phase where you have copilots enabled and assisting you with your day-to-day that you do? Okay, nice. Yeah, lots of them. Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, is there anyone in the next phase where you are one step above and using agents? Okay. Yes, Victor, Douglas, Dinesh, awesome. Okay. So I'm probably gonna ask more questions about what you're doing with your agents, but that will come next. So be prepared. Okay. Okay. So what is a mental model? So we looked at terminologies copilot. We looked at terminologies called agent, and then I briefly described what fusion means, right? So Copilot is assistive, it's helping you autocomplete, create your meeting notes, things like that, right? Summarizing your emails. Agents are autonomous. They're planning, they're deciding, and they're acting, right? Um, so, for example, like triaging a support ticket, things like that. But Fusion is a collaborative between a human and AI. Each plays their own role, and then that's how you get your work done. I'll give you an example. Most of the time, if you're on GitHub Copilot, uh, like if you're trying to build anything, or even with the plan, the Power Platform plan, right? What you're doing is you're using an agent, right? You're putting a requirement, and then it goes and creates things for you. First step, maybe it will design something that you actually look for, but majority of the time you have to go back and forth, back and forth. Cycles over cycles, making sure that what you are expecting, agents understand and then develop it accordingly, right? And still 100% you won't get there, right? So now you have to then make it go to like 80% and then do the rest of the 20%, right? Still, there are some effort that you need to put in to get to that 100%. Whereas Fusion Team, the example where I guess Power Platform should reach to that stage is the Fusion collaborative effort. We say something, agent goes and plans things, comes back to you with a plan and say, hey, have I understood your question correctly, right? If not, gives me a chance to rectify the plan, make sure that the AI agent actually understands what I'm asking for, then goes back and then builds whatever is needed. That's the collaborative effort, right? That's what Fusion means. Okay. So that's our mental model. Now let's start with the foundation. What does this agents are built on Power Platform? So I'm going to focus some of the concepts in Power Platform. Some of them are going to be outside of Power Platform, generic concepts as well. So when we talk about Power Platform, what is the agent made of, right? So Power Platform as an agent runtime has 4 components: Dataverse, Power Automate, Copilot Studio, and Power Apps. Dataverse is your agent's memory, where you're storing the context, history, and it's a long-term memory for your agent, right? Whereas your Power Automate, you can use Cloud Flows, and now recently they have launched Agent Flows, which people get confused and they keep on using Cloud Flows. But there are 2 specific flows around Agent Flows and Cloud Flows. Those are your agent actions, right? They help you trigger approvals, update records, send notifications, things like that. Whatever you want to do outside of like automating some of those processes, predefined processes. And then Copilot Studio is your agent's brain. It helps you with the orchestration of the agents, make the decisions. You can use generative AI. You have a lot of topics. Topics are predefined topics, right? Not generative AI. And then you have your actions. You can connect to your other agents. So it's kind of like your command center, your agent's command center, right? And then you have your Power Apps. Again, limiting just to Power Platform. Power Apps is your human in loop component, right? And that's what we want. We want something that the agent goes and does, comes back, and then we review it as a human and they say, yes, this is looking good. No, this is not looking good. Go and rectify this. And then it goes back and does things. Any escalation that needs to happen, anything that needs human in loop, the governance, the accountability, all those components would need human in loop component feature in it, which means you need Power Apps. Now, you could use Teams, you could do M365, whatever it may be, but it has to be a UI component or a UI layer to it. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna see if there is any questions. Okay, so before I go to the next level and explain you the anatomy of the agents, let's see if there are any questions. And then if the pace is the right pace. Anyone, any questions before I proceed? Okay, cool. So next one is the anatomy of the agent in the Copilot Studio. How many of you, raise your hands, have actually have worked in Copilot Studio? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so most of them have worked on Copilot Studio. So that's perfect. So I don't need to explain each one of them. But I just wanted to call out 2 things, actually 3 important things here. Tools, which is your not just any tools, right? But you can also add your MCP tools or MCP servers to this using tools. Then your agent is A2A, where you can connect to your agents. That agent connection can be a full agent or can be a sub agent or a child agent. A child agent is restrictive in nature, whereas full agent is your full-blown agent in Copilot Studio. And you can have two full-blown agents connect talk to each other using agents. Then is the evaluation, which was recently introduced by Microsoft, because again, previously we didn't know how agents were working, whether they were hallucinating. There was no feedback, right, to the creator of the agents. So evaluation is that piece that helps you with the feedback of how the agents are doing. Are they performing? What are the keywords people are using? And does those keywords actually make sense for the agent to interact with? Which topics are getting involved? Things like that. You can actually dive more into it and then understand how your agents are behaving. Okay, so the next one is very important now. So the next one is the AI org chart. So in the AI org chart, on the left side, you have hierarchical, and on the right side, you have mesh. Now, what is hierarchical? This is where most of the organizations will say, or most of the people will say, hey, we need to build agents or multi-orchestration agent. This is the key word that most of the people actually use, right? It's a buzzword now. Multi orchestrator or multi-agent orchestration, right? So what multi-agent orchestration means is this. Where there is one orchestrator agent and then it calls the triage agent. Then the triage agent does something, sends the response back to the orchestrator. Then the orchestrator agent calls a knowledge base agent, goes back to the orchestrator agent, and then orchestrator agent then calls the escalation agent. So you'll see how much back and forth is happening in hierarchical, right? So recently, I came across a person who was talking at Harvard about this mesh structure. And that really got me interested. It's like, yeah, this actually makes sense, right? Why does the triage agent needs to go back to the orchestrator and orchestrator needs to make a decision to go back to the knowledge base agent? Why can't triage agent directly call the knowledge base agent if it makes sense, right? And knowledge base agent, can that not call the escalation agent if it makes sense? So that's why you'll see this mesh structure over here where you have an orchestrator agent calling the triage agent. And if triage agent was able to triage it, but now it needs to know that, hey, does the knowledge base exist or not? It calls a knowledge base agent. And if knowledge base agent is able to resolve the issue, it's directly going to call resolution agent and then go back to the orchestrator and go back to the humans. You don't have to go through all the path. But then this gives the flexibility, right? And it speeds up the process and minimizes token exchanges. Okay. Now there is a third part to it as well, where it's a pure mesh. Now, pure mesh would sound actually really nice, but it creates more headaches, more governance issues. So the way it works is you have your issue triage agent. So there is no orchestrator in this chart anymore, right? If you observed it, there's only agents, and each agent is talking to each other, right? And it's kind of like a true web kind of relationship. But then what happens in this case is issue agent calls knowledge agent calls escalation agent, it can call resolution agent, and it can go back to human, right? That's a good path. But sometimes there could be multiple paths that it can take, and sometimes it can go in loop because it doesn't know what to do. It's also hard to govern this thing. It's hard to evaluate the agents, how they're performing. So it just becomes too much cumbersome for the IT organization or for anyone who's managing the agents to make sure that they're performing well. So if you ask me, my recommendation is always to go with a mesh structure and only go with pure mesh if it makes sense. So basically what we're doing here is we are making sure that each role is amplified within agent, right? Be it issue triage, be it escalation, And doesn't matter what org chart you follow, be it pure mesh, be it hierarchical. But what you'll see, the commonality around all of these agents, that each role was amplified with an agent, right? Very specific agent. But we never lost the human in loop uh, concept, right? So each time an agent is doing something, it's always going back to humans at the end, in between, whenever it may be. But every decision, every outcome is going back to human, and there has to be a human in loop. Okay. Okay. So with that, we will look at, I've created two demos. One is going to show you hierarchical output, and the other one is going to talk about the mesh. So first we're going to look at hierarchical. And hierarchical, I've created it in Copilot Studio, and I'll show you how I've done it. And then the second one is the mesh, which I've done it in VS Code and using custom agents in VS Code. Okay. Let me bring up my other screen. Okay. So this is my Copilot Studio. So I've created this orchestrator, and then I have issue triage agent, escalation decision agent, and knowledge base admin agent, right? So 3 agents. Let's go and open this up first. So again, raise your hand, or not even raise your hand, come off mute and tell me that when you start an agent, after creating the agent, what do you do first? Anyone want to come off mute and then talk about what they do?
You rename the agent.
Sorry, Douglas, go. Yeah.
You have to rename the agent. And
rename,
then
okay. Rename the agent. Yes, perfect. Okay. And then you
give a description. Yeah.
Right. So provide name, give description, select a model, and then you would go to topics, right? You would go and start creating topics, correct? Yes.
I would give it instructions first.
Yeah,
Instructions. Yes.
not every
perfect.
time I
Okay.
create topics. I think most
That's
of the
what I wanted
times,
to
yeah, most of the time I do not create topics. I just use the LLM and the actions with knowledge.
Perfect. Awesome. 100 points for you, Ron. That's what I wanted to show you. Is like most of the time people will still be who have done PowerShell agent or who has been doing this for a while. They would always think about, hey, I need to go and create topics. Well, you don't. With LLM, you don't. But you need good instructions. Okay. So I'm going to go back to overview and let's look at the instructions. So this is my instructions. I've specified the purpose, what it has to do, right? I've specified some general guidelines of what it has to do, and then mention what skills it will have, right? So I'm making sure that it's a orchestrator agent, which will have responses from sub agents, which is your triage agent, knowledge base agent, and an escalation agent. Someone recently asked me, like, why have you not added tools from here, right? I can just add agents from here. I tried that once, and then the next time Copilot Studio updated, all of my variables were gone, and I had an error, and my agent stopped working. So I just wanted to make sure that my agent will always work and not cause any issues before the demo, especially. So I just hard coded them. But you can pick the agents from the add command as well. And then, yeah, I've said, okay, trigger Power Automate cloud flows for creating, resolving in escalation agents and whatnot. But the important step here is I've given step-by-step instructions of what I like, how the process is, right? And this is very important. How do you decompose your business process? When you are talking to a business, you're decomposing it, right? if you're talking about the IT help desk, for example, if you're talking about IT help desk to an IT admin, right? They will describe you step-by-step instructions exactly like this. So what I did is you could do the same. Get on a call with your admin or get on a call with your business stakeholder and turn on Copilot. Take down notes, take down meeting notes, right? As soon as you have in the meeting notes, you take those notes and then go to Claude or go to Copilot and then say, turn this into instructions that I can provide to my agent, a step-by-step instructions that I can provide to my agent. And this is what you would get the output. You don't even have to write this. This is what I did. I got on the call, I understood the process, right? And then I asked Copilot to turn them into step-by-step instructions, and I just gave a limit, like, because I think so this has 8,000 limits, so I said, okay, do it like in 4,000 words or 4,000 characters, right? And then gave me these instructions. So that's what I did, right? And I told it, like, I need to have a sub-agents and blah, 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 all those instructions that you normally give, and then it handed with this. Then I tweaked it, right? So what I did is, okay, gave me a good instructions, but when you're talking to business, they don't think from the agent perspective, right? No back and forth communication is happening. So they were like, okay, it goes from here to here to here to here. All good, right? But when you're talking about agents, when you're thinking from agents' perspective, and this is going to get shown in Teams or in Power Apps, right? There has to be constant feedback. Otherwise, if I'm sitting there and I don't know what agent is doing, then it just drives me crazy. And it will drive you crazy as well if you don't know what the agent is actually doing, right? So in the step-by-step instruction, I made sure that I'm calling out, confirm the receipt of the description to the user. Every step, I'm making sure that it responds. So here I'm saying call issue triage agent. And the issue triage agent, I've said that confirm the receipt of the instructions. Then in the decide step, here also I'm saying inform the user, right? Or inform the user even in this case. So whatever the outcome, please inform the user. And then here, present it to the employee. And then, yeah, this one was done. And then this is the end. So yeah. So that's what you want to do. When you're thinking from those agent and sub-agent perspective, you have to think about how you're going to make it interactive between the user and the agents as well. Then is the error handling. So specified what the error handling should be, and then just created an example. So I gave like a couple of examples, and then some follow-up and closing statements. Okay. So any questions on how I went about the instructions? No questions? Okay, cool. So let's look at this in action. So I have an agent here, and I'm going to say the first thing is, let me, yeah, so my PC just broke. Okay. So let's see if it's responding. Yeah, there you go. So here, thank you for reporting this issue. Again, responding back to the user, and then it's asking some clarification questions, right? So that it can determine the priority of the ticket. And I'll say, okay, is this the same PC issue you reported earlier, a different PC, or are you starting a new conversation? So I actually reported my PC is broken as a ticket. So laptop is not running. So it identified that as PC is broken. So that's how it responded. And then I can pick and choose what I want. Right? I can say different PC. So then it will now the IT or help desk orchestrator is not going to show you which sub agent it's invoking, but behind the scenes, it's invoking either your issue triage agent or your knowledge base agent and then if it cannot resolve the issue through a knowledge base, then it's going to escalate the ticket and then create a ticket for you, right? And then the other things or other key things that you want to keep in mind is users should not be typing a lot. Here, because this is like fluid nature of it, you have to make sure that users can type, but then the back and forth should also be minimized from the agent and the users as well. With the instructions, pretty hard, and that's when we want to go to topics, right? So topics can also be invoked through instructions. So you can use a combination of instructions and topics. That just if you want to do like yes, no, or give some options as buttons, you cannot do that through instructions, right? It's kind of like a ChatGPT experience, but they're improving now. They're coming up with buttons and whatnot. So that's why you want to keep in mind that topics are not gone. It's not going to be deprecated. It has its place, and instructions has its place as well. Okay, so it did create a ticket for me and then gave me the reason, and then identify the category as well. And yeah, so it went through all the things and then it gave me the data. Yeah. Now the second one is let's say I'm gonna say Teams is not working. Okay. So in this case, it's gonna respond a little bit differently. So you see here, it just automatically just routed the ticket, and then because there was nothing in the knowledge base, so it just escalated the ticket to a technician. So depending on what I'm trying to do here, it's making those decisions. Some of these things I've actually configured on the data as well. Let me see, tables. So here I had a category where I defined what categories there would be. So like category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then depending on what the escalation is. So this ticket was identified as category 4, but the severity was critical. So category 4, severity critical, and that's why it escalated it to the help desk escalation technician. Okay. Are there any questions? Yes. So yes, Victor. So topics would actually make more deterministic agent behavior for sure. That's why I said combination of instructions with topics is much more easy and good to manage, because then you don't run into a lot of hallucinations. But if you want to drive everything through instructions, then there's a lot of back and forth via typings. So that's why you want to utilize instructions plus the topics as well. Okay, so that was one demo. So any questions on this demo? So again, I'm gonna show you what I had done.
I think Mohammed has his hand up.
Oh, yeah, hey Mohammed.
Yeah, hi Dennis, thank you. So how are these issue triage and escalation and knowledge base admin configured within the main agent, Danish?
Yeah, so
So
all of them are all of them are full agents. I've not created them as sub agents or child agents. So all of them are complete full agents, and I was actually going to show you how I've done the other agents. But basically, if you look at the instructions, I'm going to go back to the orchestrator. And in the orchestrator, I've mentioned the name, the exact name of the agent. So issue triage agent, knowledge base agent, and then escalation decision agent. Those are the name of my agents here. And it knows with that context that there are agents, issue triage agent, escalation agent, and knowledge agent already exist in the system, and that it just calls those agents through through GenAI deterministically.
Okay. So we
And then
you have not added them under the agent section within
No.
this. Okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
how
yeah.
how the context gets passed to them, Danish? Like, I mean, if we want to pass any context, and how will it maintain?
So there is no context passed because the orchestrator should always be just passing things. So yes, it does pass in the information that the user has inputted. Yeah.
Let's say when
Oh
issue
yeah,
triage
here.
agent.
So coordinate resolution by orchestrating specialized sub-agents and workflows, right? This is what its purpose is, right? That's how it knows that it has to pass that information to the sub-agents, right? And that's about it. There's nothing else to it. I've not added agents. Oh wait, I did add agents. Sorry, I forgot. I did add agents. So agents are added here. Yes. But I've not configured them by any means through any of the inputs or completion process. These are all like by default.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah. But no tools have been
problem.
added. Sorry. But I did add knowledge. So ticket knowledge is added to help desk. Issue triage has knowledge to tickets and category. Escalation has knowledge to tickets and contacts. And then my knowledge base has knowledge base and tickets. Yeah. And an issue triage is similar with that same instructions where we have defined the purpose, guidelines, skills, and then step-by-step instructions. Where again, step-by-step instructions all came through that one call with the admin, and then having Copilot generate the step-by-step instructions for me.
And this instructions, Danish, do we you have used error handling and then step-by-step instructions. So is it something a template like we have to use it, or do you generally give it as a plain English? Like you have used error handling and all. Will it understand that when any error happens, it has to do something like this, or step-by-step instructions, meaning it has to go in this sequence. It just uses something like that, is it, or there is a template to use?
No, there's no template. There's no template at all.
Okay.
It's all plain English language. It's all prompt engineering at the end of the day, right? The better prompt you write, the better AI agents are going to behave, right? So that's why you have to provide more context so that it doesn't hallucinate. That's why you have to make sure that you're providing guidelines to it that do not do this, do not do that, only follow this particular path and things like that, so that it doesn't hallucinate. Then you're telling it exactly step by step what it should be doing instead of just coming up with steps. Otherwise, it would just, if there's a gap, it identifies, it's going to do it on its own, right? And that's where you would see a lot of hallucinations from the agents. So you have to think from the step-by-step perspective. Am I missing anything in the process, right? Because as let's say, for example, I did not mention how to assign severity here, right? If this step was missing, it will come up with its own logic, right? It will just create its own. That's where you will see hallucinations from the agents. So that's why you have to think from that perspective, how your process is working, and then provide that step by step so that you don't see hallucinations from the agent.
Yeah, thanks, Danish. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. And then same thing with escalation decision, same pattern. And again, this pattern is something that I came up with. And sometimes even I don't follow the same pattern. I just tweak it based on the complexities of the agents as well. But this is what worked on in this particular scenario. Yeah. Okay, so then I'm gonna switch over to my other laptop and then start sharing from there. Hold on. Where I'm gonna show how to do mesh orchestration. Okay, so this is my GitHub Copilot or VS Code, and then I've configured agents in VS Code, GitHub Copilot agents in VS Code, basically. So what I've done here is there are a lot of agents you will see, but I have this product, and this is, you might have seen this from Scott's demo as well, right? But as far as I remember, Scott went hierarchical, where each agent was being called by one after the other. As far as I remember, I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to go and look at his his demo again. But what I have done here is and there's a lot in here, right? First of all, this is the orchestrator. I'm telling it that you're the orchestrator. What is the input? And I'm saying that, hey, you're mesh, not hierarchy agent. And then I'm giving like, okay, these are all the agents that you have. You can invoke these agents in here. And then I'm saying output. So what it was doing is every time I was giving an instruction, it used to create a plan, and then it used to paste the entire plan in the chat window, and then that used to blow up the tokens. So I said, don't post the plan. I know what the plan is. I can look into it, right? But what it does is it actually goes and creates a plan under the plans. We went create a plan for me here, right? So that's what it does. Then speed is important. I don't want to be stuck there for like 2 hours and then agent still running through it. Right? I want everything to as possible, as much as possible, run parallelly. Right? That's what we want. So parallelism is mandatory. And then provided more context to it, which you can run in parallel, which has to be done in sequential, things like that. I've mentioned it here. And a lot of other things here as well. Now, the important thing that I've done here is human in loop. So when I ask my product manager that this is my requirement, go and fulfill it, it will go and call those sub-agents, come back with a plan, and then give me a plan, and then ask me whether I approve of the plan or no. There are two types of plans. So depending on the complexity, it determines whether it is a fast work or whether it is a high risk. If it is a fast work, then it will just ask whether I can go ahead or whether agent can go ahead or no, right? Go, no go decision. If it's a high risk, then it actually asks for approval or rejection. Okay, simple thing. So I'll show you this as in an example. So let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so here I've taken product manager, which is coming from here, right? Product manager as my agent. And then let me paste the link in here. So this is my Power Platform DevTools, right? So what I want to do here is in Power Platform DevTools, I want to create a hub where I've collated all these important links from the community. Like there might be some calculators, there might be some planner, or newsletters, right? So I've collated all of those things, and I'm saying, hey, I need a central hub where I can see all these links, right? And I'm going to send this. So what it's going to do, and you'll see this in a moment here, it's going to identify what it can run parallelly so that it can speed up the process. Okay, so let's see. So it's gathering the information. Okay, so it's saying, okay, I'm going to first inspect the planning template and then ask this sub-agents to create a proposal and then consolidate that into a new plan under the plans. Okay, so here, see, it invoked the sub-agents parallelly. First is the UI, then is the tech arc, tech designer, then is the process designer, and then the critic. So all these 4 agents are running parallelly, which just improves your speed of completion. And then what each agent is doing is it at the end, it will create sub plans, send it back to the orchestrator, and then orchestrator is going to put that all into under this plan folder. It will create a new plan, and I can review that plan. Once I review that plan, then I can either approve or reject the plan, and then go from there. Okay. So let me, while this is working, let it run. I'm going to show you one that I already did. Okay, it was going through it. Okay, so here is how it went, right? So here it called a sub-agent parallelly. Each sub-agent went back to the orchestrator agent, and orchestrator created a planning file. Okay, then once it created a planning file, which is this plan link hub, right? And then it created all of this, and it asked me a question. So it asked me a question because I did not clarify the requirements correctly. So I've specified in the models, in the UI UX model, that hey, don't make things up for me. If you have clarification question, ask me clarification questions first before completing the plan. So it asked me, hey, do you need a single hub for this link, or do you need multiple hub or whatever? So I selected that option, and it said, how should the links be showcased on the home page? And it gave me some options, and I selected that option, and it went back and then updated the plan accordingly. Okay, and then I approved it, and then once I approved it, then the sub agent went ahead and then actually did all the changes for me, right? Let's see if this is, yeah, this is still going. But these are the files. So actually, I don't see the planner yet. Yeah, this one is the old one. This one is still going through it. Yeah. But yeah, so I'll go through the agents rather than going through this. Okay, so here are my agents. So product manager, a lot of things over here. This is where I'm saying my approval handling, which is mandatory. And then my coding agent actually cannot execute. So it will say here, this is the implementation agent that only executes after I've gotten an approval. Okay, so let's go here because it's asking me some questions. See here. So this agent will not just go and implement some things. If there is a clarification question, it will first ask me to validate that clarification questions, right? So I'm saying, okay, I'm going to say system default, and then strict allow list, just something. And then here it says, okay, do you approve this plan? So at this point, I can go in here on the plan, and I can actually read the plan. So it has a goal, non-goals, assumptions, and these assumptions were some of the questions that it asked me, and I've responded back to the questions. It came up with the acceptance criteria, and then some triage, and then this is the plan, right? My process, my UI, my data architect, not needed in this case, my tech designer, and then my critic. All of this is giving me some things that I can look at, and then I can either approve or reject the design. If I approve it, it's going to go and now actually run my my app developer, my code reviewer, my security reviewer, and then complete everything. Okay, yes, good question. So I'm going to switch my screens to the original one before I can answer that question. So yes, so how do you generate those helper agents? So show you. So if you go to GitHub, awesome. Sorry, or Copilot awesome. Some awesome Copilot. Yeah, here we go. All right. So this is the link. I'm gonna paste it in the chat. It has tons of information for you. And they recently have a website. So you can see that it has agents. It actually has a Power Platform agent, which I recently used on one of my projects. Power Platform Expert. So this, and you can change this, right? You can copy this and then you can change this to whatever you want. But it has tons of information that you can use. Similarly, you have, so mine is Electron. So Electron agent is a separate, Electron Expert is a separate agent. Then there's a C# agent. Then there's tons of other agents here. This is the website. I'm going to paste the website as well. Okay. And then not only that, it also has instructions. It also has skills, plugins, and then a lot of Learning Hub material as well, and then some MCP servers too. Now I'm seeing we only have 2 minutes. I wanted to cover a few more things. So I'll cover this quickly. So collaboration patterns, something to look into it as well. When to use Fusion Teams and when not to use Fusion Teams, things like that, right? And then governance, very important. You have to have your DLP policies. You have to have your RBACs, authentications, make sure there's audit logs, guardrails for the agents, human in loop. I've told that many times throughout the session, and then responsible AI. There's actually a toolkit from Microsoft for responsible AI that you can actually use to make sure that your agents are always using responsible AI on. And yeah, that's about it. Now, before I leave, are there any questions? If not, then I do have a few things that I want to share. So what I want you guys to do is go and talk to your business process teams and then identify one business process, and then co-pilot it, and then come up with the step-by-step instructions, and then go and build the agents. You can do it in a week or two. Okay, Victor, back to you.
That's amazing. I think, Jean, did you have questions? I saw somebody raise a hand briefly here.
No, actually, I want to bring a heart because it's a very, very insightful session that we had today. And by the way, Victor, thanks a lot because you gave me the will and the way to achieve my first agent here.
Amazing. That's awesome. Danish, I have a question, but I think it's more food for thought. In near future, do you believe that folks will become more specialized in orchestrating these agents, or do you think people will invest more in understanding or specializing specific agents? So the lesson that Scott gave us, he used multiple agents. I think there was an agent that was doing a bit of requirements gathering, creating a plan, and then there was another one that was responsible for the backend model and the code and whatnot. And we can see that one person with using good instructions for each agent is able to build good solutions in almost no time, right? But what I find is that if you dive deeper into into the artifacts that agents are producing, you may find things that a front end coder wouldn't do, or a DBA would not create on a database model. So do you think that folks will spend more time specializing in the instructions for those agents, or is it a reasonable path to just become an expert of the engineering on top of those, or orchestrating those agents? What do you think? What is your opinion?
Well, so it's not going to happen overnight. It also comes with experience of what you want to do. I would say yes. I would rather spend time engineering and making sure that my orchestration engine is up to date, so that each specialized agent is specifically doing what it is supposed to do. I'll tell you the demo that I showed in GitHub Copilot. My planner was actually going and doing UI UX initially. I'm like, no, that should not happen, right? So I have to go in my agent instruction and say, do not plan. You are an orchestrator. Your only job is to send the information to specialized agents, right? So things like that. So tweaking those orchestration engines overall in agents it's going to happen, like it's a continuous process, right? But then as and when you encounter things, you go and update your agent. As and when you encounter new things, you go and update your agent. That's the process you would follow, right? Ultimately, you would have an engine that would just do the work for you, and then you just sit back and relax.